guys, it's Emma, and I'm back today for you with another video. And today, it's going to be another recommendations video. I want to recommend to you guys some of my favorite graphic novels, mangas, manhwas. It's a whole thing. And just in case y'all don't know what I mean by manga, manhwa, and manhwa, I don't know if I'm pronouncing those right. Basically, manga is the Japanese version, manhwa is the Chinese version, and then manhwa is the Korean version. I first started delving into graphic novels, mangas, anything of the sort last year. I wanted to really broaden my horizons, and let's just say I fell down the rabbit hole. And I want to recommend some of those to you guys today. I will be listing the various trigger warnings that may or may not be associated with some of these books. However, if you are interested in any of these, I would definitely recommend you looking the trigger warnings up yourself, just plainly because I may not have gotten all of them. Before we start, actually, you guys tell me down below what y'all's favorite graphic novels are, what your favorite mangas are, what your favorite manhwas. Just tell me what your favorite graphic novels are down below. I really want to know. So, without any further ado, let's get into my favorites that I want to recommend to y'all. The very first one that I want to recommend to you guys is Fairy Tail by Hiro Mashima. This is a story about wizards, basically. Wizards in these guilds and all the shenanigery that happens, but we're focusing on one guild in particular, Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail is an anime, first off, and I first got into Fairy Tail, the anime, when I was like 15. The friend group in here, how strong the friendships are, I absolutely adore it. It's just fun with all of the magic and everything that happens in here. It's literally just a bunch of shenanigery. That's what it is. It incorporates not only the friend group trope, which we all know I adore, but it also incorporates the bodyguard trope a little bit. Fairy Tail is just an awesome time if you love wizards and just happy-go-luckiness, which I will admit at some times there are some very dark points. However, I feel like the friendship and just the stoutness of the friendship, I feel, makes up for it. The second one that I want to recommend to you guys is actually a graphic novel series, and it is The Boys by Garth Ennis. This is the 7th volume, just because I don't have the first one up here. The Boys is about this kind of CIA-run organization, kind of not. It's a group of 5 people that have to check up on superheroes, and it's kind of a darker version of a superhero story because it's going off of the idea of what if superheroes weren't amazing people? Maybe some superheroes are just horrible people that happen to have superpowers. And who's gonna check up on them if they ever need, reality checks? The boys. So it's all about the boys and, their personal struggles and them trying to stop this big superhero organization. It's a dark superhero story. I love dark superhero stories. If you guys saw my scary books recommendation video, I recommended The Watchmen. It is also a dark superhero story, just mainly because it's rose-colored glasses off the idea of superheroes. There's a lot of conspiracy theories that are introduced in this book, and it's just a very big reality check of, hey, what if things aren't the way we think they are, And it's very vulgar, which I like. It's a new perspective into what superheroes are because, most of the time superheroes they're always good and they're always the good guys, but, barely any bad language, and if there's any violence, there's no blood. That's not the case with The Boys. Honestly, this series has a lot of trigger warnings, like The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. It pretty much has every trigger warning under the sun. For example, it's intensely graphic with its violence and its nudity. There are some non-consensual scenes, and it's just, like I said, it's a very big reality check on the idea of superheroes. And I think if anybody likes that sort of thing, I think The Boys would be really good for you. Number 3 is another manga that I just recently read, and that is Servamp by Tanaka. This is about a boy in school, and he finds this lost cat, and he brings it home, and the cat turns out to be a vampire. And this vampire and the boy end up making this accidental agreement to where now the vampire is a servant of this boy, and the boy now has to keep the vampire safe from other vampires that want to kill him, and the boy also has to find other Servamps in the world. It's vampires, all right? I love vampires ever since The Beautiful and that debacle. I've been looking for a good vampire story, and if you like vampires, Survamp is for you. There's only 7 Survamps, and they're all categorized in the 7 deadly sins, and it's just such a really cool new twist on vampires. Not to mention the humor in here, I was laughing my ass off. And also the art style is just really freaking neat in here too, because like, so if you're looking for again, like Fairy Tail, a really fun but vampiric manga, I would pick up Servamp. But however, you know, because it's dealing with vampires, there is a trigger warning for violence, so I would keep that in mind. Number 4, oh my gosh, this is another graphic novel series, and that is Teen Titans by Cami Garcia and Gabriel Picolo. Wow, this series is kind of like taking the original Teen Titans, you know, backstories and maybe tweaking them a little bit. I said I love the art style for Servamp, but the art style for Teen Titans is gorgeous. It's got like this really cool like watercolor bleeding effect, and it's just really neat. Now there are some trigger warnings for this, not just Raven in particular, but Beast Boy as well, because it does hint at some pretty serious topics in here, because at the end of the day they are teens. There are trigger warnings for body shaming, bullying, talk of euthanization, animal testing, child experimentation, and underage drinking. So, you know, those might not be all of them, but those are a pretty good chunk. However, if you like Teen Titans, if you're like me and you watched the original Teen Titans when you were growing up and you were just completely heartbroken that they took it off, worry not. Teen Titans, the graphic novel, is here. The next graphic novel series that I want to recommend to you guys is one that I very recently got started, and that is Shularun, The Girl from the Other Side by Nagabe. Basically, we're living in this world where there's 2 sides, the inside and the outside. The inside is light and the outside is dark, and anybody living in the outside is cursed, and this curse is kind of, the people on the inside treat it like a disease, where, I mean, it kind of is, because if someone with the curse touches you, you become cursed, and you turn into like this weird, grotesque, like animalistic looking thing, and it's no one creature on the outside is the same. And we're following this little girl named Shiva and her guardian named Teacher. And they're both on the outside, and Shiva is waiting for her aunt to come and pick her up. Meanwhile, Teacher knows some things about Shiva and just them trying to survive, right? I absolutely sped through this. This is so easy to just go through like that. The art style in here is absolutely gorgeous. It reminds me a lot of like the Brothers Grimm dark fairy tale type stuff, and the relationship with Shiva and Teacher is absolutely adorable, and I love it. And it kind of reminds me of like the bodyguard trope, just, you know, without the romance, thank God. However, the bodyguard trope nonetheless, or like the guardian trope, whatever you want to call it. It's also been likened to, oh no, what's that anime's name? I'll put a picture of it right here. I don't remember what it's called, but I'm pretty sure if you like this story, then you'll like this one, just plainly because, you know, it's very similar in the fact that there's, you know, guardians, and I don't know, just Teacher and Shiva have my whole heart, and they always will. Okay, this one is more particular towards BTS fans, but this is Save Me, and it is the graphic novel that BTS and Big Hit put out when BTS was doing their The Most Beautiful Moment in Life era. And it is a webtoon So there is that. Basically, Save Me is about these 7 friends, and they were all friends in high school, and each character is based on a BTS member. And it follows Jin coming back to Korea from LA, I believe, and he's now stuck in a time loop in order to save each of his friends from their grisly fates. And each time he fails, he gets sent back in time in order to try again. It's so good. It deals with a lot of touchy subjects that just a lot of teenagers would go through, so I feel like it's incredibly relatable on that standpoint. And just as a fan of BTS, like if you've watched the music videos, if you've watched, you know, the Most Beautiful Moment in Life eras and everything that's happened or like culminated up from that point, it's just very nostalgic, I believe. Save Me does have a lot of trigger warnings, and if y'all don't mind, I'm just gonna list them off because... So we have trigger warnings for suicide, murder, death in general, abuse, overdosing, forced institutionalization, depression depiction, grief depiction, trauma depiction, abandonment, and loss of a loved one. When I tell you it gets emotional, and I don't think even for just a fan it would get emotional, but I think like for anybody reading this it would get emotional. It's just a very strong story with a lot of twists, and I feel like anybody that has had a good friend group or like a strong friend group for a while, I feel like would really like Save Me. Okay, this one, I'm kind of exposing myself here. This is a manga that I've been reading on Manga, and the title is My Beastly Boss is Also My Neighbor. Now I know what you're thinking. Emma, what the hell? And honestly, Emma, what the hell? But what can I say? It's about this girl who gets into a relationship with her boss. It is very graphic. Not in violence, obviously, but in nudity. There's breasts galore in this manga, right? It's not only just, you know, sex, right? But it's also really cute at times because, you know, when they're not fucking the living daylights out of each other, they are, in fact, really sweet with each other, and you really see their relationship grow and the communication between the two of them. I honestly wasn't expecting it. I was just, you know, expecting it to be, you know, fun times and then legs up in the air, you know. Aside from the very tender moments, it's very smutty and it's very sexy. So if that's up your alley, sis, go for it. All right, it's still ongoing, which means, you know, the person is still uploading, but oh, it's good. It is very, very good. There's a lot of titty worship, and we love that. We love to see it. We endorse it, quite honestly. And then the last one that I have, it's kind of broad, but it's another kind of fan-based thing where it is the Warrior Cats manga series, and it's by Erin Hunter. In particular, I would particularly recommend Sky Clan and the Stranger and then Gray Stripes Trilogy, just plainly because those are my favorites and I think they're the best. Sky Clan and the Stranger is about Sky Clan and when they meet Soul, right? And then the shenanigery that happens there. And Gray Stripes Trilogy is about when Gray Stripe gets kidnapped by the Two Legs in the very beginning of the New Prophecy, and you know, the duration of time until when he comes back with Millie. And so because Gray Stripe has my heart by the shackles, I have to recommend that, right? I have to rep my man. But it's also just a pure thing of nostalgia, I believe, and it also gives you a deeper insight onto not only the clans with Sky Clan, but also with the cats in particular, like Gray Stripe, because it is so central in the Warrior Cats fandom. I don't know how people outside of the Warrior Cats fandom would really consume this or react to it. However, it is there for the taking, and you know, if you're interested, by all means, I wholeheartedly recommend it. So you guys, that was my recommendation video for all of these great mangas and graphic novels. And I really hope that you guys took some recommendations from this, because quite honestly, I'm having a great a great time. I am thriving in this community already. All right, and I've just started. Below, I will leave a link for a girl that I took a lot of recommendations from, and it is her video on easy manga to get into, or just fast manga to get through, you know, just anything of the sort. So I'll leave that link down below along with the usual links. And with that being said, you guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you are staying safe, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.